when I was 4 years old, 1993, in the family home we had a budgerigar, and he used to fly around the kitchen and stuff. And one day my dad was watching my mum cooking on the skillet, and I was sat probably in a high chair or something. I used to sit in a high chair at age 4, probably not. Anyway, and the budgerigar was flying around, and he sort of flew near to where mum was cooking, and there's also an open fire back in the other corner of the kitchen, and the budgerigar, he jumped into the frying pan. We went, "Oh no!" And Dad said, "Get out!" And the budgerigar was obviously in a bit of a flap, and he flew across the room and into the fire. At that point I exclaimed, "Oh no, he's gone from the frying pan into the fire." And that was how that phrase came about. As it happens, the budgerigar was fine. There wasn't a real budgerigar. But that is how that phrase came about, and ever since sort of 1993 you've seen that phrase all over the place, and I never really got the credit for that, obviously. In a previous life I did used to have to travel for work. I guess I still do for kind of gigs and stuff, when there are gigs again, if there are gigs again. So if I was going away for a gig, obviously there's bits of gear that were needed, but when I did used to go away, this was pre-HX Stomp, so I did just want to talk about what I used to take and how my life would be much easier now. So I did 4 weeks on the trot in Israel, in like a hotel gig or a pub gig. We used to play in the venue underneath people, and for some reason they book English bands out there. I knew ahead of time that I needed to take some stuff. At the time I was using a Kemper, but I didn't want to take a Kemper on a plane. And what I ended up taking was a Yamaha DG Stomp, which looking back is actually kind of close to an HX Stomp anyway in a few ways. A TC Electronics Dark Matter, I think, Line 6 M5. I think there was also an AB splitter that I had on my board, a Radial Big Shot ABY. And at the venue was a Fender Twin Reverb. So I was going direct to the PA or the board or whatever, and also I was coming back to the Fender Twin. That's what the split was for. So that was my rig for that. Pretty simple, but even with that it wasn't easy. I had to go through 2 internal flights and nearly missed one flight because they were going, "What are these things? You said there was a pedal board." And I said, "Well, that's what a pedal board is. It has pedals on it." And obviously there was a bit of a language barrier and stuff. I wanted to talk about what's essential to take now. And most of it can fit in one bag now. So a pick, or several picks, obviously essential. Headphones, but not just any headphones. The ones that I've found most pleasure in, especially for using with the kind of devices that I'm going to talk about later, are open back headphones. Now obviously if you're travelling on trains and planes and things like that, you don't want open back headphones for that necessarily, because you're going to annoy whoever's sat next to you coughing on you. However, for playing with modelers, the open back headphones supposedly have slightly better technology, something to do with how the drivers work. So the ones that I specifically use are Sennheiser Mass Drop HD58X, and they're pretty decent. I like them anyway. But they seem to fatigue my ears a bit less than closed back headphones, and you definitely don't want to be trying to do kind of practice or playing with typical earbuds, I don't think. So all of my stuff that I've taken away can fit in here. I can't quite shut that, but I think that's kind of cool. You could take that on a carry-on on a plane probably. I think on a good day. I have travelled with Yamaha silent guitars before, and those fit into a slightly smaller thing, but we'll get on to why I wouldn't do that again given the choice. So obviously the main thing that I'd be taking these days would be this, the Line 6 HX Stomp. Rhett Scholl says he thinks it's the best device that Line 6 make. I'm inclined to agree with him, and Keith 5 Watt World has just done a video on his, and he uses his as part of a smaller board sometimes as well, but I think this is a great device for that sort of thing. Obviously this loses a few points in terms of portability, but this is great. And I'm probably, if I was doing a gig, I would want to take most likely either one extra switch like he talks about, or probably an expression pedal, which I would use more. I don't have an expression pedal with me now, but obviously not essential for like practicing stuff, but useful, I think. And the really cool thing about the HX Stomp is that could do everything that I was doing when I went away. Split off the send and return and go into the front of an amp as well, parallel paths and all that sort of stuff. Those kind of things are not so possible with the Line 6 Pod Go, but I would say the Pod Go, if you weren't doing those things, is probably slightly more giggable. You've got 4 snapshots on that, and a bigger screen, and stomp mode, so that's pretty useful for that. Obviously on this channel you know I'm a big fan of the HX Stomp. Don't forget a lead. Right, why am I bringing this? So I really hate using like a laptop tracker pad, or whatever you call them. So I like to take a mouse to take away some of that feeling of working on a laptop. I think it just makes things slightly easier. Don't forget a USB cable. Never forget that. I think that's all I've got there. And then travel, I think, is the main reason for a guitar like this. So this is the Harley Benton Dullahan 24 fret roasted model. It's probably got a name. I think that's all I've got there. And also cylinder designs that came before that, maybe from Steinberg. And then travel, I think, is the main reason, Steinberg as well, for a guitar like this. Reason for a headless instrument, the portability of it. So this is the size of the case that it was in. Harley Benton Dullahan. The main thing that I like about it is the body is the normal size, and that generally seems to be the thing that some travel guitars get wrong. So like the Yamaha Silent series has like a full size frame, but I found that frame kind of just stuck into my ribs when I was playing it, if you try to place that down and stuff. So this actually works really well and sits nicely. If I was gigging, probably I wouldn't take this, but for just travelling, and you know, if you've got a job where you have to go to hotels and stuff, this kind of thing is sort of ideal. It's got a really comfortable neck for me, not a thin neck, like a full C. Plays well, and with the humbuckers can kind of work for jazz stuff as well if you roll the tone knob off, as you obviously would if you're playing jazz. So those are the things that I can take with me now and create these kind of videos still while I'm not at home, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. I thought it was something worth talking about. I think obviously the HX Stomp is the most important part of that for the rig. Here's some playing. Thank you for stopping by. If you do like this sort of video, could you like and subscribe? I think we're getting pretty close to 15,000 now, and when we do, I'm going to put on a new hat. Cheers.